Hello friends, welcome back to my studio. Hope you're well. As some of you will have read, I haven't been well. I knew I was really pushing it towards the end of the year, and the market proved to be the final straw that absolutely broke me. I had a very high fever for about a week and it's really knocked me around. You can probably hear a little bit still there. So thanks for your patience while you've been waiting for another installment. The market went really, really well. It reminded me of why I don't do markets. They're a lot of work and a lot of time on the actual day. If you calculate all the time and effort and the cost, and then tried to pay yourself an hourly rate out of that, you really do question why you would do market stalls. I was in a lovely room with three other talented, lovely people, so it was nice to share the day with them. You are, unfortunately, you do feel a little bit in competition with each other as market goers enter your space. You're really wanting them to come up to your stall and buy from you, and it can be quite disheartening when you see them perhaps just pass you by and go to the stall next door and buy from them. It can be quite unsettling, and you really need to have your self-confidence all together and confidence in your own product. There was a stall next to me that had tea towels. She was also a painter. Her paintings are of very much what I would call Australiana, Australian plants and a lot of florals. And it's, even though I'm Australian, there's a big portion of me that's European, maybe past life stuff, I don't know, but my work tends to have more of a European vibe to it, and her stuff was very Australiana and it was very, very popular. And she had tea towels that were similar to mine, and she was selling all of these tea towels like they were just flying off the shelves type thing, and they were cheaper than mine by $5. So hers were 100% linen for $25 and mine were a 50-50 linen cotton blend, and mine were $30. So I could have gone into a bit of a spin or a panic about that and felt like I wanted to reduce my price. But what you need to remember is I don't know what her initial buy in for her tea towels were. By the look of the product, I would say she's bought in masses amounts, like very, very high volume, which makes them much cheaper for her. And then there's her margin, which of course I'm not aware of what her actual profit margin was that she's placed on top of that. So for her $25, I don't know if she's making $20 or $2 or what she's making on top of her towels. I can only know what I'm selling my tea towels for, and I had worked out what my margin needed to be for it to be worthwhile, and so I stuck to that. So it's a message for you: if you are going to do markets, try and not get too caught into the activity that's happening at the other stalls and perhaps isn't happening at yours. You can do an evaluation after. There was another stall there where she had lovely, lovely product, but her prices were a little bit high, and I did hear her say towards the end of the day that perhaps she'd had her prices set a little high, and it was her first market. So they're the sorts of things, the teething things that you work out as you're doing markets. And people need to have a perceived value that not only you're asking them to part with their hard-earned, and let's face it, things are very, very tight at the moment, and those kind of treats and luxury items, things like art that are not necessarily a necessity. It's a little bit harder to get people over the line for those things. So I hope she didn't feel too disheartened with. She did sell some things. I think we all sold things in the room. But yeah, it's a challenging market to be in, to do market stalls. My stall went very well. I sold across the board of things. The top dollar of things was $30. No one bought anything that was worth over $30. And normally I sell the A3 landscapes that are $50. They normally rush out the door, and no one bought those on the day. So I think it was a quieter market for me anyway, and that's why it's important not to get caught up with, there was quite a buzz about the stall next to me, and obviously the people that were in attendance really liked the Australiana stuff, and I had less people like my things. And it doesn't mean my things weren't of equal value or as nice or as technically sound. It was just the people who came on the day liked that stuff. And that's where having an open studio can be a better way to go than markets, because you do get tie kickers, you do get people that are just out for the day, just having a look, oh, here's another studio, let's go in. But you'll find you'll have a bigger portion of people that are actually interested in what you're doing, interested in you. Because that's the other thing with the market. There was so many people there that I had never met, didn't know about me. And I did make some good connections. I certainly nearly ran out of business cards that I had with me. There were a lot of cards taken. So you never know where those things might flow to. But I find in an open studio situation, I have a much bigger portion of people that are coming to see me and my things, and perhaps that's why I have greater success on an open studio than I do a market stall. Now, if I was to do a market that was a regular, there's a local artist market in Castlemaine, perhaps if I was to do that, you're there on a more regular basis, that sort of thing can certainly help with a market, that people see that consistency and they start to learn that you're not going anywhere, that you're a solid thing, and that it's more easy then to invest, and perhaps they get to know you, and it's just an easier way to have a more successful market stall and survive on markets as a business. What was lovely about the stall, I had a few people that I knew that have been following me, and they had all really remarked about how impressed they were with the improvement that they could see. And some of them are fellow artists, and that came as a huge compliment to that they could see, and they thought it was worth mentioning about seeing my skill improve. And that at the end of the day, I'm making art to sell, but really it's brought me back to remembering that firstly I make art for me. I make it because I love to do it, and I think it's really important not to lose sight of making art, not sellable art, but art that is for you, art that you like. Make it for you first. Make what you like, make what you love, make what you love doing. And so that's going to be my focus. This is always a time that towards the end of the year, I like to review the past year, have a look at where I was at the beginning of the year, and then thinking about what I want to do, what things I want to keep with me, and continue to do, and what things I'm going to let go. The studio, because I've been basically in bed for 2 weeks, the studio is an absolute shambles. I would really love to have a more minimalist, which is crazy to say when you can see the footage here of just how messy. There's not a surface that is clear in here. My daughter's moved back into the studio. My son's moved back home, so we have moving boxes. The studio is a lovely big open space that occasionally gets used for other things other than my studio space. So what I'd really like to focus on is giving that a really good clean up. And in my convalescence, I've been watching a lot of YouTube and doing art research and doing a lot of reading. And it's also dawned on me that the artists that I really admire, what I see them do is really be able to focus in on something. They might be studying another artist or color or paint, or there's something that they focus on, and they really focus on it. In fact, one of the quotes was, focus on it until you are bored out of your brain with it, then you know you've exhausted it. And I've realized, looking around the studio and looking back, I am all over the place. I'm not just a painter, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's nice to explore different mediums and different techniques, but I realize that there's things that I've wanted to do that I don't do because I get sidetracked. And I've talked about my ADHD brain, and losing my mum this year has been the most difficult thing I've had to do so far in my life. But it has also taught me so much about myself and how easily I get distracted, and how I'm a bit messy up there and I'd really like to set the intention to be really focused. And so part of looking at the studio and having a really good clean up is really having a look at, do I want to do encaustics ever again? Am I going to ever play with oil paint again like I want to? And cold wax medium, and I'm gel printing and I'm painting, and it's taking away the things that I really would like to do. Like I have said for a long time now that I want to get back into my oil paints, and I've even bought some new oil paints recently, and the oil sticks that I absolutely adore. I've got some lovely new colors of those as well, and I'm not doing them because I haven't got the time, because I'm all over the place doing all these other things. So I'm saying it out loud now on this vlog, so hopefully it sets it more in stone that the things that I've really been wanting to pursue, I can really start to try and give myself the possibility of focusing and really chasing down ideas until I'm bored of them. And so part of the way I think I'm going to do that is to do an absolute extreme cleanse of the studio, declutter, and really start to think about what mediums am I keeping and what's going to go. I don't know whether I'm actually going to throw paint out. I'm certainly find it easy to throw paintings out. I will have a big declutter of paintings because otherwise I wouldn't be able to move in here. I know people say to keep everything you've ever done, but I don't feel that. I think I feel a real ability to move on to a new idea when I declutter those old things out that aren't serving me anymore. So anyway, there's an update with what I'm up to. I'm regaining my strength. So I'll be getting into the studio soon to really start to define the space. I really want to have, I feel like if it's less busy, it will help quieten my mind and be able to keep me focused, and where I'm not grabbing for, you know, that other thing. So exciting times. Who knows what next year will bring with that intention, but I hope you'll stick around and join me next year to see what I get up to. There is enough time for one more vlog after this one before I will take a break for the year. And so stay tuned for next week, where I will put a little video together. It worked really well last year, where I had kind of the year in review and I looked back at everything we had done together. And so I think that'd be a really nice video in itself. So that will be next week's. But for now, I'm going to set some new mood boards up for my direction for next year and really start to declutter this space and get it organized, ready for making beautiful, beautiful art that makes my heart sing. So with that, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here for the year, and I look forward to next year. Bye.